Okay, so objective 92. Yesterday when we did 91, we learned about that thing which I put on this board behind you over here. It says point slope form. It's like in the third box down. When they want you to make the equation of a line, and then they give you a slope and then just some random point, we use point slope form. Today, they're not even going to give you the most important part of information you need, which is a slope. So what they're going to say is write the equation of a line, and all they're going to say is, hey, a line that goes through these 2 points. Or you can put any 2 points you can draw a line through. Imagine it. If I put 2 points and you just took a ruler, you can draw a line. And if you can draw a line, you can come up with the equation for the line. So just review really quick some things that you already know. This is the easiest of all. Give me the equation of a line that has some sort of slope. So give me a slope to put on this example.
3/5.
3/5. And it has a y-intercept of what?
7.
7.
I'm in the back.
No. This is just an example of stuff we should be able to do. All right, give the equation of a line with a slope of 3/5 and a y-intercept of 7. What would we say? If somebody gives you a slope and the y-intercept, what's our equation going to be?
Y equals 3/5 x plus 7.
Yeah, 3/5 x plus 7. That's not hard. And that's what we knew before this week. If somebody gave you a slope and a y-intercept, I can put it into mx plus b. What we covered yesterday is instead of giving you the y-intercept, they'll give you the slope still. Give me another slope. Give me something else.
7/3.
7/3. I'll put negative 7/3. So they give you negative 7/3 as a slope, but instead of the y-intercept, which is nice to have instead of the b, it's a random point. So give me some random point in the world.
5, 6.
197.
6.
27.
Okay, 2, 6.
Yeah.
So instead of giving you an m and a b, they're going to give you an m, and then they're going to say, okay, that's the slope, and it goes through the point 2, 6. So you can't put it in y equals mx plus b, because they didn't give you b like they did up here, where there's your m and there's your b. So if they give you your m, and then they give you some random point, you got to label. First, your m is all, or your slope is always your m, but you got to label this as x1, y1, and then use that new formula, the point slope form that we learned yesterday. And now that point slope form is really a recipe for making an equation. And how does it go? Point slope form.
Y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses x minus x1.
X minus x1. And a lot of times what I'm going to do after I write it is underline these 3 spots. When they give you information like a slope and a point, they're giving you numbers to put in these 3 spots. So my y minus y1 is actually y minus what?
Is y minus 6 equals negative 7/3 x minus 2.
Good job.
That's it. So when you're given this information, then you have to do the y minus y1 recipe to make your equation. You have to start out with that. And a lot of times they'll want you to make the equation and then get it into slope-intercept. But you have to start out with that recipe. Now today, instead of giving you a slope at all, they're just going to give you 2 points. So this is similar to the previous objective, except you're not given a slope. You just have those 2 points. So what you've got to do is, anytime somebody gives you 2 points, you can find the slope between those 2 points using the slope formula. What is the slope formula?
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Okay, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if anybody gives you 2 points, you can always calculate the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then when you have a slope and you have some points, you can use the point slope formula, which was the y1 or y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So on this objective, you need these 2 things. You need to be able to calculate the slope, because they're not going to give it to you, so you have to get your own slope using this formula, and then you're going to have to put it into the recipe, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So on this first one, that's all we have to do. Like, let's make the slope happen, and let's put it into the formula, and then we'll be done. So this is write the equation of the line that goes, or write the equation of the line in point slope form that goes through these 2 points. So you have these 2 points. I would start out by labeling. So I'd label it x1, y1. Every point is xy. So label it x1, y1, and the other one is x2 and y2. Every point is xy. So the first one is the first x, the second, well, the first x, the first y, the second x, the second y. x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, it's important to understand the information given. There's lots of problems in Algebra 1 where they're going to want you to write the equation of the line. Look at the information given. In this particular problem, if I said, what did they give you? You'd say, look, they gave us 2 points. Did they give you a slope? Is anywhere in this problem, does it say the slope is? No. All they gave you is 2 points. The most important thing you need to make an equation is the slope. So if they didn't give it to you, you're going to have to calculate it using y2 minus y1. So if I'm going to calculate the slope, I'm going to say what minus what up here? 5 minus 6 over 3 minus 5. 5 minus 6 over 3 minus 5. And if you want, and what I would do, I wouldn't even write things down. I'd go straight to my calculator. Because it's going to reduce for you. It's going to just make it that much easier. So I go 5 minus 6 over 3 minus 5. And the beauty of it is it reduces it to positive 1/2. 5 minus 6 is negative 1, and then 3 minus 5 is negative 2, so it's negative 1 over negative 2. But the calculator just took care of it for you. So your slope is...
Wait, how do you make the positive?
because it's negative 1 over negative 2, and you got negative over negative. So your slope is 1/2. If you're doing a problem like this and then you need my help, you're like, Mr. Jones, come help me. I'm going to walk over and I'm going to go, did you calculate the slope? And if you haven't, I'm going to walk away and come back after you've done that. Always calculate the slope. If you don't know how to do anything else, at least get the slope first. And then we can talk. You got to have a slope. You need to make a line, you got to have a slope. So calculate the slope, and then we'll talk. Okay, once you have the slope, we've already labeled our points x1, y1, x2, y2. So just use this as your x1, y1, and let's go y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So my y minus y1 becomes y minus what?
6. Oh.
What's my y1? 6. So y minus y1 is now y minus 6. Y minus 6 equals 1/2 x minus 5. Now for this problem, we're going to call that done. We got it in y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. You could have, and what I would do is if you're doing multiple choice, check your 4 answers below. No, there was no set rule that said this was the point to use. They could have actually used this one on your multiple choice answers. So if somebody said y minus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 3, they just use this one instead. That's perfectly fine if they do that. Nobody said that this had to be x1, y1, and this had to be x2, y2. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's look on the back side. We got 2 examples where your final answer is not going to be in point slope form. This first one, I want your final answer in slope intercept form. So keep in mind, we want our final answer to be y equals mx plus b. So write the equation of the line in slope intercept form that goes through these points 6, 7, and 3, 5. Did they give you a slope here? No. What did they give you instead?
x1, y1, x2,
y2. Which that would be, they gave you 2 points. They didn't give you a slope, they gave you 2 points. They didn't give you a y-intercept, they gave you 2 points. And anytime they give you 2 points, the most important thing is that you calculate what? Slope. You can't make an equation without the slope. So let's calculate it. It's what minus what?
7 minus 1.
Well, yes, fine. We'll go 5 minus 7, just give me order. 5 minus 7 over 3 minus 6.
2/3.
5 minus 7 over 3 minus 6, so that makes negative 2 over negative 3, which is positive 2/3. Okay, your slope. Now you have your slope as 2/3. What's my x1 and my y1 going to be?
6 and 7.
6 and 7. Once you have your slope, you don't need 2 points, you just need 1. So my x1 and y1 is going to be 6 and 7. because I already have them labeled.
Bless you.
All right, we're going to have to start out with, since we don't have a y-intercept, you have a slope and you have an x1, y1, you're going to have to start out with the recipe. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. You can't start out in y equals mx plus b here because you don't have a b. So y minus y1 is now y minus what?
7 equals 2/3. 6.
X minus 6. Y minus 7 equals 2/3. X minus 6. Now, if you remember yesterday, this is in point slope form. If that's what they wanted, you'd be done. But what form do they want it in?
Slope intercept.
So here's what always happens.
You have to distribute.
Yeah, it's always 2 steps away. If you got it in this form and you need y equals mx plus b, it's 2 steps. The first one is to distribute this. So you got to distribute this, and you have y minus 7 equals, this makes 2/3 x. And then what is 2/3 times negative 6?
4.
But negative 4, right? 2/3, positive 2/3 times negative 6 makes negative 4. Be really careful with your signs, will make a huge difference. You got to go 2/3 times negative 6. That was step 1. The other part of finishing this is going to be what?
Adding 7.
Yeah. Add 7 here and here, and you're done. That'll be y equals mx plus b. So distribute first, add the y1 second. You got y equals 2/3 x plus 3. And that's in y equals mx plus b. Your slope is 2/3, which we found that out earlier. And now you know your b is 3. Makes it pretty easy to graph. Y equals 2/3 x plus 3. Now this last one, I'm going to write small because we got a long way to go. The last one wants you to put the final answer in standard form. That means it's going to be a journey from what we start out with to where we get all the way to standard form. Write the equation, find the standard form of the equation on the line through the points -2, -9, and 9, 3. Here's one thing about standard form, which is why it's the worst form of all time. You don't ever get to start in standard form. It's just a form they came up with that sometimes you have to rearrange your answer into. But there's no way to start in standard form. So what we have to decide is, are we going to start in y equals mx plus b, or do we have to start in point slope form? And it depends on what you have. When they give us these right here, what are they really giving us? They're not giving us a slope. They give us these 2 things. What are they?
We're going to have to start
Points.
in point slope.
They give you 2 points. The whole objective is about when you're given 2 points. So we label them. x1, y1, x2, y2. And then we got to find our slope. Be careful. This is the first time where you have some negatives here. So when I do my slope, instead of 3 minus 9, it's actually what? 3 plus 9. It's 3 minus negative 9, so it's 3 plus 9 over 9
Plus 2.
plus 2.
So it's 12.
12 11ths. That's your slope. So you found your slope. And now what is my x1 and y1 going to be?
-2, -9.
Negative 2, negative 9. Now, just to be honest, we already labeled these as x1, y1. If you use these as your x1, y1, you would still get the same answer. So it doesn't matter. Some people don't want to deal with the negatives, so they'll use these instead.
So would it be, is it still y minus? Or
Right here?
like right here, down here when we put the,
We're going to go y minus y1. So now the thing is, if it's y minus y1 and y1 is negative 9, it's going to actually be y minus negative 9. So it's y plus 9. So if these elements are already negative, you end up going y plus 9. And 12 11ths, and then since your x2 or your x1 is already negative, instead of x minus 2, it's x minus negative 2. It's x plus 2. So if your elements are already negative, you end up going y plus 9 equals slope x plus 2. And right here, what form am I in right here? I'm done with one of these forms. What is it? That what this is? It's not slope intercept.
Point slope.
This is in point slope form. You are going to have to go 2 steps to get into slope intercept, and then take your slope intercept into standard. So that's why it's such a long journey to go from the y minus y1 all the way to standard. All right, my 2 steps. First I gotta distribute. So I got y plus 9 equals 12 11ths x plus 24 11ths. I'll zoom up here. So if I distribute right here, I get 12 11ths x plus 24 11ths. And then what's the second step to get me to y equals mx plus b?
Subtract 9.
Minus 9. And you get y equals 12 11ths x. And then you got to go 24 11ths minus 9.
Equals negative 6 and 9
Yeah. Well, let's keep it as a regular fraction.
Negative 75.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got negative 75.
Yeah, keep it as negative 75 11ths. Yeah, it is what you said it was, negative 6 and whatever. Negative 75 11ths. Now, this is in what form?
That is
Slope intercept
y
form.
equals mx plus
That's in y equals mx plus. You took it in 2 steps. You took it from point slope to slope intercept, but you got to go to standard. Now, here's what you would do with standard. Remember the one rule of standard about the fractions?
Yeah.
You can't have fractions. What I would do immediately is kill the fractions, and this is why this is good. These two fractions already have what on bottom? 11. So there's a fraction with 11, a fraction with an 11 on bottom. If I could get this to be a fraction with 11 on bottom, I could kill the fractions right now. What can I put on bottom of that y right now?
11.
What? Well, I want 11 on bottom.
1.
I can put this as y over 1, and then if I want to make that an 11 on bottom, what do I put right here? 11 over 11. And now, this fraction has an 11 on bottom, this fraction has an 11 on bottom, and this fraction has an 11 on bottom. You can do that kill fractions method that we learned about last week, where we cross this out. And that's going to help us get standard form a little bit easier. So, we end up with 11y equals 12x minus 75. All right, now that you took care of fractions, to get to standard form, one of these 3 pieces is on the wrong side.
Subtract 12x.
12x. It needs to go to the left. So I put minus 12x on each side. Yeah, that's going to cause a problem, but we'll fix it. This gives you negative 12x plus 11y equals negative 75. You're breaking one of the standard form rules, not the fraction one, but the other one.
Negative.
Can't have negative x. That's an easy fix. What do we do?
Reverse on the sign.
Yeah, make this 12x, negative 11y, and positive 75. And you're done. 12x minus 11y equals 75. And there it is in standard form.